Have you ever wondered what lurks just beyond the veil of reality, waiting for the unknowing to call its name? I stood in front of the antiquated mirror in my dimly lit bathroom, the air thick with the scent of must and old wood, the faint light casting ominous shadows that danced along the chipped tiles of my childhood home in Maplewood, New Jersey. It was a place steeped in memories, both sweet and bitter, where the laughter of my younger siblings echoed through the halls like distant whispers, but also where my own nightmares began to take shape. As a child, I had been captivated by the tales of Bloody Mary, the ghostly figure said to haunt mirrors, waiting for someone foolish enough to summon her by name. The stories told in hushed tones during sleepovers in the cramped confines of our living room had ignited a spark of fascination and dread within me. I remembered how I'd peer into the mirror, half expecting to see her pale face emerge from the glass, a twisted smile playing on her lips. But those were just stories, right? Just harmless myths meant to frighten children into behaving. Or so I thought. That day, however, something felt different. The afternoon sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving only a muted twilight that crept through the window like a thief. I could hear the wind rustling through the trees outside, the leaves whispering secrets I could not understand. My fingers trembled as they brushed against the cold surface of the mirror, a shiver racing down my spine. It was as if the very atmosphere had thickened, weighted down by an unseen force urging me to turn away. Yet I found myself entranced, unable to break the spell that had woven itself around me. I recalled the summer when my best friend Emily had dared me to summon her. "It's just a game," she had laughed, her blue eyes sparkling with mischief as we huddled together in front of the mirror, our hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. We had chanted her name, our voices trembling in the dim light, but nothing had happened, or so I thought. Little did I know that some games come with consequences far beyond innocent fun. As I stood there, staring into the depths of my own reflection, I realized I was not alone. The mirror seemed to ripple, distorting my features, a grotesque echo of something lurking just behind the glass. A chill ran down my spine, igniting memories of that summer night, a night when laughter turned to screams and Emily had vanished without a trace. The weight of her absence pressed down on me, and the guilt clawed at my insides. An uninvited guest that refused to leave, but it was more than just Emily's disappearance that haunted me. The townsfolk had whispered dark stories about the mirror, tales of shadows that danced in the corners of your vision, and voices that called your name when no one was there. I had brushed them off as mere superstition, yet the feeling of being watched grew more intense with every passing moment. The house, once a sanctuary, now felt like a trap, and the mirror became a gateway to something far more sinister. And just as I was about to step back to escape the oppressive atmosphere that surrounded me, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. My heart raced, and I could feel the air grow colder, thick with anticipation. But when night fell, something inexplicable happened. The darkness enveloped me, swallowing the last vestiges of light and leaving me alone with the sound of my ragged breathing. I fumbled for the light switch, but the power had abandoned me, leaving only the chill of the air to remind me of its presence. Panic began to claw at my chest, but I forced myself to breathe steadily recalling the countless horror films I had watched that had taught me the importance of staying calm in the face of fear. Suddenly, a soft whisper broke the silence, slicing through the tension like a knife. "Help me!" It was barely audible, a voice so faint it could have been a figment of my imagination, but my heart recognized it, a memory that felt both familiar and horrifying. Emily. I turned back to the mirror, feeling an invisible pull toward it. The surface shimmered, blurring my reflection into a swirling mass of darkness, and I could almost see her face within it, haunted, pleading. "Emily?" I called out, my voice trembling. "Is that you?" But the only response was the echo of my own voice, mocking me from the depths of the abyss. I stumbled back, my mind racing as pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. It was more than just a childhood game. There was something malevolent bound to that mirror, and it was calling to me, feeding off my fear and regret. Just then, the door creaked open, and I spun around, ready to confront whatever had come to claim me. It was my older brother, Ryan, the one person who had always been my anchor in times of chaos. His expression was a mixture of concern and annoyance. "What are you doing in here? Claire, I thought I heard you screaming." I wasn't screaming," I stammered, still shaken by the encounter. "I was just looking at the mirror." He stepped closer, his brow furrowing in confusion. "You and that stupid mirror again? You need to let it go. It's just an old piece of glass," he said dismissively, but I could see the flicker of doubt in his eyes. Ryan had always been the rational one, the one who grounded me. Yet, even he couldn't deny the strange occurrences that had plagued our home since childhood. "Emily's gone, Ryan." "She's really gone," I replied, my voice cracking under the weight of my grief. "What if the stories are true? What if she's trapped?" Ryan's face hardened, a mixture of sympathy and frustration settling in. "You can't keep doing this to yourself, Claire. We've talked about it. You need to move on." "But I can't," I snapped, tears brimming in my eyes. "What if I can help her? What if the mirror holds the answers?" He hesitated, and for a fleeting moment, I saw a glimmer of fear in his eyes. "What if it doesn't? What if you open a door you can't close?" His words hung heavy in the air, and I took a step closer to him, desperation flooding my senses. "We have to try, Ryan. I can't just pretend like she never existed. I need to know what happened." Just then, the lights flickered back to life, illuminating the bathroom in harsh fluorescent light. I could see the uncertainty etched across Ryan's face, and I knew he was grappling with his own fears. "Okay," he finally relented, his voice barely above a whisper. "But we do this together. No more games." I nodded, feeling a rush of determination mixed with the lingering dread. Together, we would confront whatever lay beyond the mirror. But as I turned back to it, the glass shimmered again, and I caught a glimpse of something shifting behind my reflection, an insatiable darkness that promised to reveal the truths I sought. And for the first time, I felt the weight of not just my past, but of something much larger, a force that wanted to keep its secrets buried. The battle for Emily's truth had begun, and I could already feel the ground shifting beneath my feet. As I gazed into the mirror, my heart raced, caught between hope and dread. The familiar face stared back at me, yet the shadows lurking behind it felt alien and threatening. I could feel Ryan's presence beside me, a comforting weight that grounded me, but the air was thick with tension. Okay, let's do this, I muttered, taking a deep breath. I reached out my hand toward the mirror, feeling an electric pulse as my fingers grazed the cool surface. In that moment, the world around us shifted. The reflection rippled, and I could see flashes of light, images of Emily laughing, her smile bright and infectious. But just as quickly, those scenes morphed into something darker. A shadowy figure loom over her, a silhouette that made my blood run cold. My breath hitched as I realized it wasn't just a figment of my imagination, it was a memory long buried, one that I had tried to forget. "Claire?" Ryan's voice broke through my reverie, but the urgency in his tone sent a shiver down my spine. "What are you seeing?" I think I saw her," I stammered, my heart racing. "But there's something else. There's a figure. I remember the night she disappeared. I thought it was just a nightmare, but it felt real." Ryan's face turned ashen. "What do you mean? You've never mentioned a figure before." I swallowed hard, piecing together fragments of that fateful night. A storm raging outside, the power flickering, and Emily's laughter echoing through the halls before it all went quiet. I had a nightmare. I thought it was just my mind playing tricks, but now, I don't know. I think I might have seen who took her. Suddenly, the mirror pulsed violently and I staggered back, gripping the edge of the sink for support. The reflection twisted and warped, and the figure became clearer, a tall, dark silhouette with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through my soul. "Claire!" Ryan shouted, grabbing my arm as if to pull me away from the mirror's grasp. But I was entranced, caught in a web of memories that felt far too real. "You need to let it go," he urged, his voice tinged with panic. "No, I can't do that," I cried, feeling the weight of the revelation crash down on me. "This isn't just about Emily anymore. It's about us, about everything we've buried. We can't ignore the truth." Just then, the lights flickered again, and for a heartbeat, I saw something behind Ryan, a shadow shifting in the corner of the room. I blinked, and it was gone, but the unease settled deep in my bones. "Ryan, did you see that?" I whispered, fear lacing my words. He shook his head, but I could see the uncertainty etched across his face. "No, but we need to focus. The mirror is messing with your mind. We need to break this connection." I backed away, but the urge to confront the darkness was overpowering. In the recesses of my mind, a chilling thought emerged. What if the darkness wasn't just linked to the mirror, but to our family's past? What if there were secrets that bound us, that had been lying in wait, waiting for the right moment to emerge? The air thickened with an ominous energy as I turned back to Ryan, my voice trembling. What if we're not the only ones who've been affected by this? What if there's more to Emily's disappearance? What if it's connected to us, our family? His face paled, and I could see the realization dawning on him. "Claire, you're not suggesting—" But before he could finish, the lights flickered once more, plunging us into darkness. The room felt alive, pulsating with a malevolent energy, and I could sense it, the truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed. In that moment, I knew we were on the brink of something far more sinister than I had ever imagined. As I reached for the mirror again, I felt a compulsion to confront the darkness, to unravel the secrets that had haunted us for too long. And as I pressed my palm against the glass, the whispers returned, louder now, echoing the name I had tried to forget. Emily. As my palm pressed firmly against the cool glass, the whispers crescendoed into a cacophony, each syllable echoing with a familiar desperation. Emily. I felt the name resonate through me, a tether to the past that pulled me deeper into the shadows. The mirror darkened, swirling with a blackness that felt almost sentient, as if it were aware of my presence and intent. "Claire, don't!" Ryan's voice broke through the noise, his hand clutching my wrist, trying to pull me back from the brink. But the energy emanating from the mirror was intoxicating, igniting something deep within me, a primal urge to delve into the unknown and confront whatever lay beyond that reflective surface. "Let go!" I shouted, feeling the surge of power coursing through me, the pulse of the mirror syncing with my heartbeat. "This is about Emily. We need to know what happened." "Think about what you're doing," Ryan pleaded, his eyes wide with fear. "What if you're inviting something terrible into our lives? Something we can't control?" But all I could think about was the figure, the dark silhouette I had glimpsed. I needed to know who it was, what it meant. It felt like a key to unlock all the pain, all the confusion that had smothered my family for years. "I have to do this," I replied, determination hardening my resolve. With a sudden surge of energy, I felt the barrier between our world and the one behind the mirror begin to dissolve. The glass rippled like water, and a rush of images flooded my mind. Emily, smiling, the wind tousling her hair. Emily, frightened, running through the rain. The figure, dark and looming, reaching for her with elongated fingers. I gasped, lost in the memories, each one a piece of the puzzle I had desperately tried to assemble. Then Ryan's grip tightened, and I felt the raw power of his fear. "Claire, you're losing yourself!" he shouted, but I was already beyond his reach, spiraling into the depths of the unknown. Suddenly, a cold wind whipped through the room, extinguishing the last flicker of light. The darkness thickened, and I felt a presence behind me. I spun around, heart racing, only to find a shadow moving toward us, tall and menacing. "You shouldn't have come here," it whispered, the voice a chilling echo of my own fears. "Who are you?" I managed to choke out, my voice trembling as I faced this embodiment of our family's nightmares. "I am the keeper of secrets," it replied, the tone dripping with malice. "You seek the truth, but truth comes at a cost." Ryan stepped forward, a protective instinct igniting within him. "Let her go. Whatever you are, you have no power here." He stood between me and the figure, but I could see the doubt flickering in his eyes. "Do you think you can shield her from the darkness?" The figure taunted, a cruel smile forming on its shadowy visage. "The darkness is within her, and it will consume everything in its path." I felt a surge of anger and fear. "No, I won't let you take control. Emily deserves to be found." But as I shouted, I could feel the mirror reacting, vibrating with energy, pulling me back into its depths. The whispers grew louder, drowning out my thoughts, and I realized I had a choice to make: to confront the darkness or to retreat into the safety of ignorance. With my heart pounding, I took a step forward, my voice steadier now. "If you want the truth, then let's reveal it." And as I did, the air crackled with tension, the boundaries between our worlds blurring, and I knew that whatever happened next would change everything. The moment I stepped forward, the mirror's surface rippled violently, and a blinding light erupted from within, engulfing me. I felt myself being pulled into the void, and the cries of Ryan grew, distant, fading into a haunting silence. As I crossed the threshold, a sharp pain sliced through my chest as if the darkness itself were clawing at my soul. When I emerged on the other side, I found myself in a world that felt both familiar and alien. It was a twisted reflection of my own reality, filled with shadows that danced and flickered at the corners of my vision. I looked down and saw my hands trembling, the faint mark of fingers imprinted on my skin, a reminder of the dark figure's grasp. The pain throbbed, but I didn't have time to dwell on it. I had to find Emily. I stumbled forward, each step heavy with dread. I could hear her voice, faint but unmistakable, calling out to me from somewhere deep within the shadows. "Help me, Claire." But as I followed the sound, the darkness thickened around me, swirling like a storm. I felt it clawing at my mind, pulling me back, whispering doubts and fears. "You're not strong enough to save her," it hissed. "You'll only endanger yourself and those you love." I clenched my fists and pressed onward, my determination ignited by the thought of Emily. Suddenly, I broke through the veil, and there she was, standing at the edge of a dark abyss, her eyes wide with terror. "Claire!" she cried, reaching out to me. "Emily!" I shouted, my heart soaring with hope. I rushed forward, but the ground beneath us began to crumble. The shadowy figure loomed nearby, its form shifting and writhing, ready to snatch her away. "Stay back!" I shouted, channeling every ounce of strength I had left. I could feel the mirror's energy pulsing through me, a tether to my world. I was no longer just a spectator. I was a force against the darkness. "You won't take her!" With a surge of power, I unleashed the energy I had absorbed, light bursting from my palms and illuminating the abyss. The dark figure recoiled, its form flickering as the light pushed it back. Emily's face transformed from fear to relief, and in that moment, I felt the connection between us strengthen. But as the light enveloped us, I felt a sudden jolt, a sharp pain in my chest that stole my breath. I gasped, clutching my heart as I felt something deep within me shift. The shadows retreated, but not without leaving scars, both visible and hidden. The darkness was vanquished, yet I knew it wasn't entirely gone. Remnants lingered, waiting for a moment of weakness. As I pulled Emily into my arms, the world around us began to dissolve, and I felt Ryan's presence beside me. He grabbed my shoulders, his eyes searching mine for answers. "What happened? Are you okay?" he asked, worry etched on his face. I think we're okay," I stammered, but a chill ran down my spine. Though we had confronted the darkness, I could sense that something was still amiss. Emily's eyes darted around, her expression one of confusion and fear, as if she had seen something I hadn't. "We need to go," I said, my voice trembling. But even as I spoke, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The shadows were retreating, but they had left behind a lingering echo, a sense that our ordeal was far from over. As we stepped back into our world, I caught a glimpse of the mirror one last time. It shimmered, its surface now a tranquil silver, but I knew better. The whispers had quieted, but the secrets remained, buried deep within its depths. "Claire, what did we just face?" Ryan asked, his voice laced with uncertainty. "I'm not sure," I replied, my heart racing. "But I have a feeling this isn't the end. We have to uncover the truth, whatever it takes." And as we turned away from the mirror, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had merely scratched the surface of a far greater mystery. The scars of our confrontation were just beginning to heal, and I could sense dark forces still at play, waiting for the right moment to strike again. As we stepped away from the mirror, the unsettling silence weighed heavily around us. I was still reeling from our confrontation with the darkness, the shadows lurking just beyond the periphery of my mind. I turned to Emily, her gaze distant, her expression haunted. "Are you sure you're okay?" I asked, but deep down, I felt that something had shifted within her. Suddenly, a tremor rippled through the ground beneath us. I stumbled, and Ryan caught me, his grip firm yet frantic. "What now?" he demanded, but the question hung in the air unanswered. I felt it, the unmistakable pull of the abyss, calling to me like a siren song. The shadows that had retreated were now gathering again, swirling and thickening, a dark mist creeping back toward us. "We need to leave now," I urged, but as I turned to run, I saw Emily standing still, entranced by the darkness. Her eyes glimmered with an uncanny light, as if she had been marked by the very force we had fought against. "Emily!" I cried, reaching for her, but she stepped closer to the edge, into the shadows. "You don't understand, Claire," she whispered, her voice carrying an otherworldly echo. "This is where I belong now." Panic flooded my chest as I realized the truth. The darkness wasn't gone, it had claimed her. I reached out, trying to pull her back, but it was too late. With a final heart-wrenching smile, she disappeared into the void. Ryan and I stood frozen, horror etched on our faces, the darkness swirling around us, hungry and insatiable. I felt the weight of despair settle in my bones, a chilling realization dawning upon me. The fight was never truly over. It had only just begun, and now it had taken the one person I loved most. As the shadows enveloped us, I understood that I would have to confront this darkness again, not just for Emily, but for myself. The mirror still shimmered behind us, a taunting reminder of the choices we made and the horrors that awaited. And as the void swallowed us whole, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had become part of the very darkness I sought to destroy. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure. Leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.